no quiz.
Well, listen, Mark, listen, hold on. When I say, would you have caffeine today?
What the hell is that up to that anything?
How much coffee did you drink before the show?
Listen, you can't polish a sneaker, right? throw tomatoes at me, do whatever you're going to do.
It's Corso and Catone.
Welcome into Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel. Chris Corso alongside Mark Catone and Joe Guarnieri. And we are presented by Corso Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. CorsoLawGroup.com. Allow us to be your voice. Listen, you want to watch us, see us? You can do that on YouTube. Just go ahead and type in Corso and Catone. All of our shows will pop up, including this one. Make sure you subscribe. Give us that thumbs up and tell all your friends. But if, Mark, if people just want to hear us, they can do that too. You can do it on the iHeart Radio app and also iTunes Radio. And for you Alexa listeners, go ahead and just say, Alexa, play Corso and Catone podcast on iHeart Radio, and boom, all of our episodes will pop up, including the most recent one. And check us out on Twitter at Corso_Catone. And you can give us a call. Mark, the heated hotline, very, very popular. 855-313-PATS. Call in 24/7. Leave us a message. Anything's on the table. Joe's going to pick the one he wants us to discuss. The one could be yours. So 855-313-7287. Guys, you shoveled out? I mean, did you get buried in the snow? What's the situation over there?
It's still rub it in, Chris. It's still snowing over here. What do you think?
It's like 65 to 70 degrees right now, sunny. Because we're recording this show during the day here, and then it airs at 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure. So it's beautiful out over here. But did you guys get slammed or what? What's the deal?
Yeah,
It's going.
It's still going.
So you haven't gone out and shoveled yet, Mark?
Nah, it's like below zero out, wind chill. Forget about it. I'll go out later.
You gotta give some kid like $10.
Hey, I'll go out later. Then I'll pour myself a nice glass of bourbon and just relax.
Right.
There's
Right.
no kids out there. That's how windy it is. There's no kids.
Yeah.
Well,
There's
Joe,
nobody out, Chris. There's nobody out.
No. Well, everybody gets panicked. Anyway, I love the thumbnile, Joe. This thing.
Oh, I love it.
And for those of you who don't know, real quick, the guy on the bottom with the captain's hat, that guy's name is Salty Brian. I mean, it was like 6:30. What a WPRO, wasn't it, Mark?
WPRO 6:30.
Right, and he used to come on and give the school cancellation. So you were up at like 5 in the morning, 6 in the morning.
It was
to this
AM
guy.
radio. For those younger viewers, you may not know what AM radio is.
They don't know what AM radio is.
Right.
But yeah, he'd come on and be like, Foster Glocester, no school. Every city. I grew up in North Providence, Mark. Every city, Cumberland, Burrillville, Smithfield, no school. North Providence, 1 hour delay. every damn week. So that's pretty funny, Joe. It's good. So listen, we got a good show today, packed show. We're gonna go through Heated Hotline, our weekly rewind. Of course, Catone's comments. I have a feeling it's going to be pretty exciting today. And for those of you in the Pats Nation, we got MAC-MANIA, Coach's Corner. But Mark, Corso and Catone is the real deal New England feel, and you're going to hear it here first. We have breaking news, Joe.
Yes, we do.
After 22 glorious seasons in the NFL, we are reporting that Tom Brady is going to be set to retire, and that's imminent. So that would maybe today and maybe tomorrow, but Tom Brady is going to be set to retire. That's the word we're hearing. We wanted to report it first because we are the real deal, New England feel. Wow, Mark.
Wow.
Crazy news. Not breaking. That's crazy news.
That's crazy news. Not
That
breaking
is crazy news.
Crazy
Right?
news.
It is.
So, and by the time you all hear this show, it'll be 7 p.m. Eastern.
It'll be all over.
It'll be all over the place. But right now, during the day, it's breaking news. And well, gentlemen, Mark,
You
start unwrapping that.
That's why it pays to set your notifications to Corso and Catone.
That's right.
Chris,
That's right.
he's he's the GOAT, right? I mean, why don't you just say he's the GOAT? And everybody knows when you say he's the GOAT, everybody knows who you're talking about.
Mark,
I mean, Chris, 7 Super Bowl championships, 5 Super Bowl MVPs.
ridiculous.
I mean, a 15-time Pro Bowler, right?
Three-time NFL MVP.
Yeah. I mean,
Two-time NFL Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, it
come
just
on,
keeps going,
right?
you know?
He's got 15 of the NFL's all-time passing records, right? He's the
Yeah.
NFL's TD leader, most yards passing, most career wins. I mean, what else does he need to do?
Yeah, he's number 1 in completions, pass attempts, yards, passing TDs, starts, wins, Pro Bowl nod, Super Bowl MVPs. I mean, he led the NFL in TD passes 5 times. So, I mean, Mark, he was in the Super Bowl 50% of the year for a decade, 50% of the time or more.
That he played.
So
How
what do you think
crazy
about
is that? Think about that, Chris, for a minute. Half the years he played,
stupid numbers?
so he won 7. He's played 22 years. He lost.
Spent the
to
10.
he lost to the Giants twice, and he lost to the Eagles. So he's been to 10 Super Bowls in 22 years. Think about that.
And he threw 500 yards in the Philly Super Bowl. And by the way, the 3 Super Bowls that he lost, he had them in the lead
in the closing
with under
minutes.
2 minutes left.
Under
in the
2
game.
minutes to go, we had the lead.
So, hey, listen, Mark, why is this happening right now? What is the?
Well,
why do you suppose this is right now?
Well, listen, I'm going to say it, and Chris and I both said it, but Chris said before that playoff game last week, he said, listen, Mark, if they lose, I wouldn't be surprised if he walks away because I think he's had enough of the clown show down there. And if you actually watched the game last week, Chris, you could see his frustration
He was
of that clown show down there.
Mark, you could see his frustration. There was no greater example in that game of his frustration than when he lambasted, who was it, Hockley?
Hockley, the idiot
freaking
Hockley.
lambasted as the first unsportsmanlike conduct he's ever gotten in 22 years. So that's got nothing to do with Hockley. That's got to do with everybody on that Buck sideline.
Chris, they were so undisciplined last week.
Yeah. All year. I mean, for 2 years, they've been really undisciplined.
He got them on a streak last year, and they won it, right? He got them on a streak. They played well defensively, and he had a couple of things fall his way. He won it, right? And I think that's what he wanted to do, Chris. He wanted to prove he could win without Belichick. He did it. In fact, he won without a head coach because that guy's an absolute a boob.
Joe, how long has Mark been calling this guy a cartoon character?
He's a cartoon character.
But boob's the first time I heard that.
That's a new one. Yeah, that's a new one. But Chris, he's a cartoon character.
He is. I told you, Darth Vader with that thing in the chest and the mask when he was wearing it. Yeah, he's a fool. And you know what? He said it.
And now Leftwich left, the offensive coordinator, got a job, right? Not that he's anything special, but I think Brady had more of a rapport with him than Arians. He's gone.
Tampa's going to have 3 wins next year.
Yeah.
If that. You know, you know what I'm saying? So, that team's going to be picking the top 3
because Godwin now, there's no way Godwin's going back there, Chris, now that Brady's gone.
No, Evans is going to beg his way out of there.
Evans going to beg his way out of there. Gronkowski's obviously gone. Fournette is a free agent. Fournette's not staying there. Who else is going to stay there, Chris?
Who the hell is their backup? I don't even. Who cares about Tampa? The bottom line is Brady. So, listen, what does this mean for New England?
I thought he was going to retire a Patriot, you know?
Well, that's what I'm at. So, Mark, talk to the people about that possibility.
Well,
because he hasn't announced it yet.
He hasn't announced it yet. So he's supposedly, it's imminent. He's going to retire, right? Yeah. So what does that mean? We always thought, Chris, somehow he would work out a deal where he'd become a Patriot for a day, and when he retired, he could say he retired a New England Patriot. It seemed when he came here for that game back in October, Chris, he mended fences with Belichick and Kraft. I don't think, you know what I mean? And everybody seemed to, hug and make up that night. And I think in the days following that game, does Tampa Bay work something out with New England so he's able to become a Patriot for a day to retire a Patriot? Did they fly him in for a press conference with Kraft and he retires a Patriot? I don't know. They did that for Brett Favre, right?
Yeah, I thought maybe they would do something like he did with the Hulu thing, where he came out and he was walking across the field and he said something like, "I'm not done yet," or whatever it was. They monetized
that's what I thought.
It,
right?
And I thought they would do that again.
Well, Chris, you know what he did do?
I think he's that disgusted.
Chris, he is that disgusting, but guess what? One of the most watched streaming episodes. He has not released the last episode of Man in the Arena. He's holding it off. He said they had production issues. He's holding it off until March, maybe. He said, you know, there's going to be some big ending to that. Now, if he's retired, now it's really going to be big.
The production issues are how much can I tolerate the cartoon character and the circus show that's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers before I say I'm done. That's the production that's going on down there.
Chris, let me ask you this now. Can the Patriots finally turn the page, close the book? What do you think, Chris? Now, with the legacy and everything that happened.
Yeah. Closure, right, Joe? Closure.
Let it go.
We need no, Mark, you're right. We needed that. You and I have been talking about this. It's not when the Patriots are never, and the Patriots and Patriots Nation, Pats Nation, and those of you in it, nobody's ever going to be able to move forward until this guy retired. And now, let the healing begin.
Well, yeah, because next year, Chris, if you struggle and you win 9 or 10 games, you're not looking at, Brady's, they've won 13 games. They're a number 1 seed again. Why did you get rid of them?
That's Mark, everything. Now. All these shows, tracking Tampa. That's what tracking Tampa, where you got to pay attention to what's going on down there and all that nonsense.
And now what about the other idiot, Murray, back in the flagship? What you going to do with the creamsicle sweatshirt?
Oh, I want to see if that's
wearing
on
the
next season.
creamsicle sweatshirt?
Right, yeah. That team is going to be a train wreck.
But so you think we can finally not close the book, but finally there's closure, right, in that whole situation?
There has to be.
Who's happy than Bill Belichick today?
Oh, my God. I mean, Belichick's and Kraft, they're going to be sitting there saying, God, I'm so happy I don't have to listen to that crap anymore now, And that's and who knows, maybe in the tunnel after our game, that's what he was telling Belichick. I'm sick of this cartoon character. I'm probably out of here unless we win it all again,
Chris,
who the hell knows? Belichick's a vault. He never let that out.
In our lifetime, Chris, I know we'll never see that again.
Never again.
What he did ever again. In our lifetime, anyway. Maybe our kids, our grandkids, I don't know. But in our lifetime, we will never see what he did again.
No. Who's going to go to 10 Super Bowls? And you know what, Mark? The one thing that eludes him, the one thing that he will take to his grave that you can't put on that list is the perfect season. And that's the one thing that he'll never, ever. But everything else, I mean, listen, we're going to get into this more in the coming weeks. We'll put a Brady segment together that's already in the mix because we already knew this was coming. We are the real deal New England field. So not, maybe the Tampa field, but we're going to put something together. We'll talk about some of the things about Brady, go back and look at some of his, some of the days in New England. So breaking news. Absolutely. Tom Brady is set to retire after 22 years and the age of 44. Mark, he didn't make it to 45, but
that's interesting, Chris, because he always said 45. Now, that's the interesting part of this, that he didn't close it out at 45. And the question to him is going to be, well, why? Well, Giselle must have had something to do with that, I'm assuming. Right?
I think it's all got to do with his frustration down there.
Yeah.
And his recognition.
He won't say that, though, Chris. He's going to say it was family.
Yeah. His recognition of the fact that where I just came from in New England, the structure, the organization, the coaching, this is probably the polar opposite of it in Tampa. And it just got to him after a while.
They asked, and then I know we're going to move on. They asked this week Gronkowski about the season and all the distractions with Antonio Brown and all that stuff.
Which was Brady's fault, by the way, Brown.
It was.
It's his doing.
But Gronkowski said the one thing that I take with me throughout the rest of my life, he said, and it's one of the things I carry with me now is when I was in New England, he said, I learned you block out the noise.
Yep.
You do your job and you do what you can control and what nobody else can control. Your job. He said that, Gronkowski. So these guys can say whatever they want, Chris. What they learned with Belichick, Chris, that was a joke where they were. An absolute joke. I mean, Gronkowski's basically telling you where we are now is a joke.
Yeah. And so for all the people in the flagship and all that crap and all the talking about Brady, Belichick, Brady, and all that nonsense, that it's got to be one or the other, which was nonsense. We said it. Mark said it 100 times. He learned how to be a professional football player. He learned the Patriot way, who was Belichick. So a lot more on that in the coming weeks. We will discuss. It's going to be all over the place in a little while. We got a heated hotline to get to, don't we, Joe?
We certainly do.
Okay, let's get it done.
Let's get her done.
Heated Hotline. HOTLINE.
Hi, this is Debbie from Cranston. I'm a baseball mom. I have a question for you. The question that I have is with the baseball lockout, is baseball officially dead? Let me know what you guys think. Thanks.
Debbie, was it Debbie from Cranston?
Debbie from Cranston.
Okay, so I'm so glad. And the reason why I'm smiling is because as soon as I heard baseball, go ahead, Mark, take it.
Well, Jesus, Chris, baseball was struggling enough, right? So we talked about this numerous times last year, Chris, between the use of analytics and there's no more instinctual managing or coaching or gut feel for the game and making a move or making a decision or stealing a base. The iPad's telling these guys what to do between the length of the games, right? And how long it takes for a game and the different things that people just aren't going to baseball games unless, you live in Boston, you live in New York. Okay, games are sold out.
Those are huge markets, yeah.
It's a huge market. But if you look at these teams across the country in these small marketplaces, Chris, the stadiums are empty, right? The stadiums are empty. Nobody's going to the games unless Boston or New York go.
Right.
The New York and Boston fans are there, right?
Right.
So,
Mark, even Tampa Bay, that's in it.
Yeah,
they don't even get fans there.
They don't even get fans. So this, Chris, I definitely, to the caller's point, there's a real risk with this lockout, Chris.
Yeah.
That the fan base they do have, they're going to start to lose because a lot of the people that are watching these baseball games, Chris, are guys my age, your age, and older. They're not kids, unless you play the sport like my son. If you're in your 20s, teens, 20s, early 30s, you're not watching baseball. They're not watching it, Chris. So to the caller's point, if this extends, Chris, baseball's got a serious problem, and the only thing that saves baseball. The last time they had an extended work stoppage was Maguire Sosa's home run race that summer. Brought everybody back to baseball. Yep. And we'll get to that in a minute.
And I'll bet you, if you asked him, your son, that probably half the players on his college team don't even watch baseball, professional baseball.
They probably don't.
I'll bet you they watch football more than they watch baseball.
Yeah.
If I had a guess, if you asked him that question. But
no, you're
Mark,
right,
so is Debbie's right then? I mean, not right, but she's sharpened her question about is it dying? Because there's a sense out there that it is. What do I think? I think that, I think it's an old timer sport because there's been no innovation, nothing. There's been nothing really done to speed, and it's this. We talked about this speeding up the game. It's ridiculous how long 3.5. Who the hell is going to sit there for 3.5? Even in the stadium, Mark, it's tough to sit there for 3.5 hours and watch that crap. I mean, it's slow, it's dragged out. The pitching, the hitting, the batter's box, all of it, and they won't do anything. They won't do anything. Which Mark, so one of the reasons, right, is probably no better example than this Hall of Fame situation that's going on, that you see where the old timers are destroying the sport, right? So what happened this week?
Well, you got these purists, right, and these baseball writers. So the Hall of Fame ballot,
guys like Shaughnessy,
all those guys, right? So, but they're hypocritical, Chris. They're hypocrites because let me tell you why. So, so you have the Hall of Fame balloting. So you don't let in, and I'm only going to focus on Bonds and Clemens. Okay?
Yeah, because those are the
you don't let
A-Rod's
a different story, and I'll tell you why. So Bonds and Clemens, Chris, if you look at their careers, before the steroid era hit, okay, when Clemens was pitching for Boston, he looked like he was like 140 pounds, right? The night he struck out like 20 guys against the Seattle Mariners, right? And Bonds, when he was with Pittsburgh, was hitting the ball all over the field. He was getting, was an MVP guy. And then his first year or so or two in San Fran, these guys had MVP, had Hall of Fame credentials and careers before the steroid era hit. So let's look at that, okay? These guys were Hall of Fame players. Bonds and Clemens were Hall of Fame players before that happened. Then the steroid era hits. But everybody, Chris, in the league was doing some kind of performance-enhancing drug, a PED. They were taking greenies, whatever. They were doing something to get them to perform.
Greenies, Joe.
Right? Yeah, they were, right?
Greenies.
The uppers, right? To get them all juiced up to play, right? They call them the greenies in baseball, right? So they'd have them in a jar. The players would walk in, Joe, and take
like
one.
Candy.
The players would tell you they were in a jar when you walked in the locker room.
like
Like,
me
It was
eating
like
Red Hots
candy.
every night.
use a
Like
jar.
Red Hots, like you degenerate. They fall all over your chest. You fall asleep, right? So, but Chris, so this era, everybody was doing it. The owners knew it. The baseball writers knew it. Everybody knew it. They didn't care because everybody was watching the home run races.
And they hung these guys out to dry,
right?
too.
And these guys got now. But I'm going to say this, Chris. Clemens and Bonds did not get caught during that era. After the fact, people said, "Oh, we sold it to them. We watched them take the needles. This, that."
But they never
Once-
tested positive.
They never tested positive, Chris. And once they started those new protocols of testing,
Yeah.
Bonds and Clemens never got caught.
Right.
So, listen, did they
But who
do it?
did? It's in.
And Rodriguez did. So Rodriguez, I have no sympathy for him. Rodriguez got caught, Chris, after they were testing. He got banned for a year. He wasn't a product of that era. After the fact, he was so goddamn arrogant. He still continued to do it, and he got caught with his hand. You know what I mean? But Bonds and Clemens, Chris, listen, they did it during an era where it was acceptable. David Ortiz couldn't hit the ball out of the
There it
goddamn
is.
infield, Chris, in Minnesota. He's our only Hall of Famer this year. He came to Boston with Manny
Right.
Ramirez, who was juicing, admitted he was juicing, and all of a sudden, Ortiz is hitting bombs. You don't think Ortiz did some PEDs with Manny Ramirez? Of course he did. He never got caught. Nobody implicated him. So now he's a Hall
Yeah,
of
but
Famer.
wasn't there a positive test with him?
Supposedly, no. I don't know, Chris. It never became public, whatever. But Bonds and Clemens aren't Hall of Famers. But David Ortiz, who gets hooked up with Manny Ramirez, is a Hall of Famer. He never got caught, and there were no stains on his jacket. He got away with it, right? It's so hypocritical, Christian. You know why? Because you got guys in that Hall of Fame who doctored up baseballs.
Oh, my God.
Steve Carlton's in the Hall of Fame, the big lefty from Philadelphia. Never threw a ball that wasn't cut, doctored up. The ball would slice so much, it was physically impossible for the
Right.
ball to do. He's in the Hall of Fame. You got racists in the Hall of Fame. You got more
Ty
people.
Cobb.
right?
Dude, what do you think those guys were doing? They were
Come
abusing
on.
whatever substance, anything they had back then.
Chris, you got more guys with questionable backgrounds who did garbage, and they're in the Hall of Fame, and you're gonna be righteous. Oh, it's the integrity of the game. That's bullshit. You're
Well,
gonna
because
keep
you know
those
why?
two guys out. Come on.
Yeah, you know what it is, Mark. I'll tell you why.
I'm sorry I went on a rant, but that
It's
goes
got-
up.
no,
That goes up me
this
sideways.
is your baseball. Look,
I should have put up Catone's comments then.
no, listen. Mark's a keen baseball guy. Period. You know, anytime we talk baseball, I'm shutting my mouth. But here's the thing. Mark, this is a popularity contest. I mean, that's all it is. The reason why some of these guys didn't get in because they don't like them. They don't like Bonds. They don't like Clemens. They weren't good to the media, which pisses me off. So a guy like Shaughnessy, shut your mouth. I don't care how long you've been around, but I don't care who you are in the Boston of sports and all
He
this
gets a
other
vote,
crap.
though, Chris. He's a voter.
Yeah, of course he gets a vote. He gets a vote, and he votes for Ortiz, but he's not going to vote. Or did he say he didn't vote for? I don't know. The
I
bottom
don't know what
line
he
is
said.
he's a goddamn hypocrite, just like the rest of them, because they don't like him. So that's why they're not in. That's why this sport is dying, because of people like this. Bonds belongs in, Clemens belongs in, A-Rod belongs in the damn Hall of Fame, and Pete Rose belongs in the damn Hall
Pete
of
Rose,
Fame.
Chris, is a
Period.
whole other issue. Yeah, Rose is another issue. I mean,
Gambling.
you don't think
Gambling's legal now.
You think he was the only guy gambling?
But he did it as a coach
Yeah, not
that
as a
they
player.
know.
Not
So-
that they know of. Yeah, I mean, come
Right.
on.
So
Really,
listen,
please.
Debbie, we appreciate the call. You know, your thoughts are right. You know, you're right on track. And Mark and I, we're going to talk about this for the next coming weeks, of course, because as
And
this
it was
lockout
really,
gets heated up,
relevant, Chris, because really next week, pitches and catches supposed to report next
supposed
week.
to
There's no
report.
pitches and catches.
And Mark, the Players Association doesn't care. They could
No.
care less. These guys didn't care when it was COVID. They
Yeah.
They didn't give a shit about anybody else that lost their jobs around the country. They needed to get paid. So they have no sympathy for me.
We're watching
that?
modern day gladiators. It's give them the PEDs. Let them play. They play 162 games a year. Like let them do it. Let them perform for us so we can watch and be entertained.
I saw a commercial the other night for HGH that you can get it. You know, you could call like that 2 and 3 in the morning. I saw this commercial for it. You know, so I mean, well, Joe,
What
I'm
are
with
you doing at 2, 3 in the morning watching
Me?
HGH
Hold on.
commercials?
I got a text last night It was 1:30 in the morning my time. What's that make it there? From Mark.
3:30?
Right. And Joe doesn't sleep. So
Man.
listen, like I said, I'm with Joe. Do whatever I don't care. They're not my moral compass. These guys, I'll raise my own kids. Do whatever you got to do to make the game entertaining. I could care less. Okay. So Heated Hotline was presented by Studio 42 Designs, studio42designs.com. So Mark, I mean, Weekly Rewind, we could talk about Brady all day, but we got to get to some of this NFL, right? So Weekly Rewind, Joe, let's have it. Going back through the week, about a weekly rewind. People are going to think, Joe, that this is the only shirt I own.
I know.
Yeah, I think, you know what, Chris? It's snowing out. I think I threw this on to come on the show. I think I had this on last week, too. I don't care.
That's because he's outside building snowmans and throwing snowballs at people and stuff. Is that what you did with your neighbor that blew the leaves back into the yard? He's out there with snowballs now, throwing them at the windows.
Today he was outside in the snow. I started low. He fell.
We've gone off the neighbor fell.
I went off the rails. My wife told me I would
his ass off.
My wife told me I would be ashamed of myself.
You should be ashamed of yourself, Oh God. So Mark, listen, I mean, there's so much that's been going on. I mean, now with the Brady thing too. But we got to get to some of these NFL games last week. Mark, that may be the best weekend of football, NFL football I've ever seen.
Non-Patriot weekend.
Wow. Yeah, but I'm talking about accumulation of games. Yeah,
no, I'm joking, Chris. Every game was a field goal game. Went down to the last minute, 30 seconds. Every
last
game.
second, the zeros on the clock with the field goal.
Yep.
Oh, I think all the games, right?
They did because Kansas City went to overtime.
So yeah, they were fantastic games and upset. Mark, we had a lot of these picks. Yeah. We had some of these picks last week, and
I gotta say,
you've
Chris,
liked Cincinnati all along.
I've liked Cincinnati all the way through, but I'm gonna say something, Chris. I gotta give you credit because this kid Allen, I've been on him all year, Chris. He shut me up pretty good the last two games.
Well, hold on.
I've been on him all year.
Mark,
let's take a moment.
Yep.
Yeah, this is where he's going to apologize for laughing at the guy that fell down next door. But no. Mark, in Mark's defense, a little bit, was it the two quarterbacks last week, Mark, or was it the terrible secondary of both Kansas City and Buffalo? Oh, Mark, 13 seconds, really.
So I think it was a combination of both, Chris, and I think it was also a combination. Well, when we get into Coach's Corner, I know you want to talk about Sean McDermott.
Oh my God. But Mark, there were guys wide open. I mean, it wasn't like they were threading the needle on these things. Kelsey was open in that seam, wide open. The Buffalo wide receiver that caught that in between for the touchdown, between two guys. Didn't he? No, that was another one where he was just standing in the end zone wide open. And Allen even underthrew it. And then there was the one he threw in between the two safeties. Those safeties were a lot further apart than it looked on TV, So, yeah, give them credit, give Allen credit and all of that. But you gotta put a little in there for how bad the defenses were. But so now, Mark, this is who we have left now. You got Cincinnati and Kansas City.
Chris, I think they're going to be exciting games because San Francisco and the Rams have played two battles. They battle every time they play each other, Chris. It's a battle, right? And Rams,
I mean, but the Rams should win. I mean, they should win.
They're at home. They're at home, right? So
but they've had problems with San Fran. Didn't they lose twice at them this year? Didn't they?
They lost twice. San Fran came back. They were down 17-0. They came back and won the game.
Bosa in that front drives Stafford crazy.
Yeah,
they reduce Stafford to Detroit Stafford when they play that team.
They do.
But I will say this: LA wasn't so healthy. They've had some health issues throughout the season. Now they're healthy.
LA, Chris, is the team that you thought they were going to be before the season. And they are turning into that team that got healthy. And they were the team I had told you around Thanksgiving. I said, Chris, this is the team right here. This is the team to fear. They're going to win this thing. And I also, my bold prediction last week, Joe, the winner of that game, Super Bowl champions. Let's see if that holds true. I don't know. But
it was my preseason pick. The Rams were.
They were. That's why I'm saying that. You've been on them since the beginning. That was your preseason pick.
Because I don't know how Garoppolo is going to deal with that front four.
Yeah.
and he'll just be Garoppolo. He's going to make a mistake. He's going to screw up.
Absolutely.
He almost gave the game away in Dallas.
Yeah.
And he
Chris,
almost
the
gave the
other
game
night,
away last week.
he tried to give it away last week.
So, and then on the other side, Kansas City. I mean, I'm rooting for Cincinnati, the Rams. That's what I'm rooting for.
He's rooting for Joe Burrow.
Listen, I've always been rooting for him. I just didn't think I thought, well, let's not even go down there. But Mark, what do you think of this game?
I think it's going to be a shootout, Chris, because to your point you just made, I think Kansas City's defense stinks, right? You've been saying that all year.
They're going to get Matthew back.
Oh, yeah, Chris. Is Matthew back?
They're going to get him back. But
they haven't made an announcement yet, have they?
I haven't seen it, but from everything
Chris,
you've
been saying all year to me that this Kansas City defense is beatable. They're beatable, Mark. I don't think they're going to repeat. They're going to go back. They're beatable. And last week they definitely were beatable, Chris. I just don't know if Cincinnati in Arrowhead can come up with enough stops defensively to hold Mahomes. Or, you know what I mean? I think Kansas City will probably outscore them in Arrowhead. If those idiots, Chris, how stupid are they? They blew that game.
Oh, well, we're going to talk about that.
They might have been able to host. Now you get them back in Cincinnati.
Yeah, well, you know what, too? What's funny is if Buffalo won that game, if Buffalo won that game, Cincinnati would have had to go to Buffalo. But if Cincinnati played their starters and beat Cleveland, they would have been playing at home. That almost became a huge issue for Cincinnati, man.
Right?
And Mark, Cincinnati's doing this despite their ownership. Like, they don't spend dust over there. They have
Chris, the offensive line, the kid gets sacked.
They have 4 scouts. 4.
Chris, what did the kid get sacked? 10 times last week?
9. 9 times he got sacked. 9. So they got to
maybe you should spend a little money in your offensive line.
Mark, 4 scouts. It's amazing.
Listen, they can sign us up. We'll go scout for them.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Since the Patriots aren't going to do it, we'll
run their draft room, Chris.
They'll have perennial Pro Bowlers every single year.
Yeah,
so
we'll
listen,
run the draft room for Cincinnati.
It's going to be interesting. Those 2 secondaries stink, and they could be throwing the ball over the field. But we'll talk about it in our predictions. What I think is going to happen. So, So listen, we had a ton more to get to on Weekly Rewind, but we had to talk Brady. Had to. Mark.
Well, no, the breaking news, Chris. We had to talk Brady.
Had to. So, and we'll get into next week. We got a lot of other things to talk about. We were going to talk about Aaron Rodgers, but screw him. He's a stiff.
He's a choker. He choked. He lost. He choked. End of story. What are we going to talk about? What he always does.
Now
defense last week.
What?
Rodgers looked like our defense. He just didn't show up to play. He didn't want to play.
Yeah.
He didn't want to be there.
Well, he's got the flower truck. He's driving across the Volkswagen flower Jeep that he's running across the country over there with his long hair and his idiocy. Weekly Rewind, Mark, was presented by Special Sauce.
He lost his mind. He talks about me, Joe.
We got to pay the bills here. Special Sauce Podcast. What is your special sauce? SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Listen, when we come back, Joe, why do I know this is going to be an epic Catone's comments?
Oh, man.
Right after
everybody should be asking this question after that.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
And here we go.
It's the Special Sauce Podcast. You lacking the sauce. The sauce is good. This is start off as funny as train them, trust them, and let them lead. With your host, Marcus Aurelius. Tune in to Special Sauce Podcast, wherever you podcast. What's your special sauce? Time for Catone's Comments!
All right. So, Chris, obviously from the thumbnail that Joe put up earlier, everybody knows it's a snow day in Rhode Island, right? We're getting a blizzard, okay? However, last night, innocently, my wife says, we're out to dinner. She says, oh, we need dog food for the dog. I said, oh, all right, no big deal. We'll go to the market. We'll get dog food. Because the pet store near my house does not have dog food. So I said, yeah, no problem. I'll go to the market. I'll get dog food. No big deal. Because he likes a certain type of food. So I go into the market, local
Certain
market.
type of food.
Yeah, he's fussy. I go into a certain market. Oh my God. It was. I thought it was. I thought they were dropping the A bomb. I thought the world was ending. It was over. I said, "What the hell is going on in here?" They're driving carriages into themselves. They're ripping milk and bread and food and then throwing it. I said, "What the hell is all this?" I was gonna call you, Chris. The lady whacked me in the back. I go whiplash. I said,
Shoulda went
"Oh,
down.
lady, what are
Shoulda
you
went
nuts?"
down.
Come on, settle down. She was about 90. She had a carriage full of stuff. She couldn't even see over the carriage. She rammed me, right? Why? Why this lunacy? Because it was a snowstorm in Rhode Island. They're going to run and get bread and milk. I got some idiot stocking shelves. Oh, I think it's going to be worse than 1978. You weren't born in 1978. You're 20 years old. You weren't even born. What are you talking about 1978 for? It's lunacy. Lunacy, Chris. In this state, snowstorm, blizzard, everybody runs. It's like it's the end of the world. We're gonna die. We ain't gonna have food for months. Tomorrow morning you can go to the market. These people are crazy. I've never seen anything like it. I came out of there. I had whiplash. My shirt was ripped off my back. I got to the car. My wife said, "What the hell happened to you?" I said, "You sent me into a store. There's a blizzard tomorrow. Did you forget?"
Wait, she didn't even come with you?
No, she went in the car. She was on her phone playing. Chris, lunacy. Absolute lunacy in that market. I've never seen anything like it.
For those of you who don't know, again, a carriage is a shopping cart. Just
Carriage
it's
shopping cart. I don't care what it's
just fine.
called. All I know is it rammed me in the back.
yeah. Can I just give everybody out there a little bit of advice? You get rammed in the back in any type of situation, okay? You go down to the ground. Don't touch me. Don't move me. I want an ambulance. That's simple.
All right, yeah. See, I
It's
didn't
very
do that,
simple.
Joe.
Joe,
I was
right?
going to tell her to watch my driving show. I CORSO and Catone about how to drive.
So, okay. So let me ask you a question then to now fast forward. How are the roads today?
Well,
Are they
they
clear?
should have known you can't drive, Chris. From
Are you
8
not
to
allowed to
8,
drive?
no cars on the road, no.
Okay. So
Except emergency vehicles.
Amazon's not delivering today.
No deliveries for Amazon today, no.
Okay. How long would you say that's going to last?
There'll be cars on the road by 9, 10 o'clock tonight, probably.
Okay. So all that milk will just be going bad, people. That used to be the thing. And I remember the
That
blizzard
was
of
the thing.
78.
That because
milk and
the
bread.
cars were stranded on the road. So they thought, you were there. You were here in 78. We were kids.
I mean,
There we go, Chris. Chris, there we go. Look at him.
bread and milk. Bread and milk. Look at these
Yeah.
two fools on the screen right now.
Bread bread
Look at this
and
guy
milk.
with the scarf. He was in the supermarket. Mark, you should have had that outfit on.
Oh,
you
you know
went in
what,
there.
Chris? Oh, I wish I had that hat and scarf.
Looked
I
like a
would have
Whe-
wrapped
a
it
Where's
around
Waldo.
somebody.
Well, Mark, did you get the things you need? Well, first of all, did you
Chris,
get the
I only went in
Alpo?
there
Did
for
you get
dog food. Chris, I went in for nothing else. I went in for dog food. Nothing else. I could see nothing did I buy. Nothing else. Just dog food. That's it.
Did you get the dog food?
Yeah. Oh, if they didn't have the dog food, they might have had to they might have had to arrest me.
This
The
would have been a
particular,
story.
the particular kind of dog food.
He likes steak and vegetable.
Is it like soft, hard? Like what is
No,
it?
it's
Crunchy
hard. It's
stuff?
good for no. No soft food. It's hard. It's a special kind. It's all natural. None of these chemicals, all this stuff.
And your wife waited in the car.
It over that he just said his dog likes steak and vegetables.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the flavor. Steak and
Steak
vegetable.
and
Yeah.
vegetables.
Yeah. A
And
well
then when he's
balanced
done,
meal.
I put a little, I put a little
Little
Super
bourbon in there?
Tuscan- I put a little Super Tuscan red wine in his bowl on the side. He licks that up with the steak and vegetables.
Perfect. So meanwhile, your wife and the dog were probably in the car. The dog was probably staring at you like going, "Hey, fool, go get me my food." Right? That's probably what's happening. So, Joe, we know who's running that household
Chris,
right now.
but you know what the moral of this story is?
Did the
Chris?
dog come
Besides-
outside at all today?
Yeah. Well, who do you think took him out in the snow this morning? Me. When I get off the show, I gotta go take him out again.
Well, listen,
But
I
Chris,
hope
listen.
everybody's careful out there with the snow, but Mark,
Chris, the moral of
it's
the
absurd, yeah.
story, Chris, the moral of the story is Never mind the lunacy every time there's a snowstorm in this state, Joe. Right? People go. It's
Crazy.
the most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
And it's
'Cause
never really as bad, is it?
No.
They say it's going to
And
be.
Chris, I don't think it happens anywhere else, but here, Rhode Island. I don't know if they do that in Connecticut, in Massachusetts, and it snows in Colorado. I mean, I don't think these people go crazy like we do.
Well,
right?
when it snows here, it's just.
Well,
It's
over there it's
crazy.
different. I mean,
In
what
Phoenix.
is you got a half an inch of snow a year every 10 years? But the moral of the story, Chris, isn't even that. Why would she send me to another one of those big box stores to buy? dog
You know what?
There's forming here.
That's it. Off the rails. We got the big box store. So yeah, Mark, I'm with you. I agree with you. So very, very good, Mark. But you can tell who's running that ship over there.
Hey, listen,
the guy
I gave up a long time ago.
Mark, how about the guy that fell next door? Go shovel his driveway for him, will you please? Come on, be a friend. Be a friend. Catone's comments was presented by CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, CORSOLawGroup.com. Hey, when we come back, those of you in the nation, Pat's Nation, got a lot to talk about. MAC-MANIA, Coach's Corner, coming right up.
It's that time again for a timeout for a message from one of our sponsors. No one ever thinks they will be in the need of a criminal or traffic lawyer, but things happen. CORSO Law Group is Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm. Their 20-plus years experience and attention to detail has helped thousands of people all across this great country who found themselves in a situation in Arizona. So whether it's a traffic ticket or if you need reduced DUI or more serious issues, call or go online to CORSOLawGroup.com and talk with these expert attorneys who I know will help you. CORSO Law Group.
Back in with Corso and Catone, the real deal, New England feel. Hey, listen, Joe, I'm not gonna let that intro die. I love it. Yeah. Love the Pats Nation intro. So, hey, everyone in the nation, got a lot to talk about. We promised you last week we get into MAC-MANIA. So, Joe, let's have it.
MAC-MANIA!
So listen, Mark.
Yeah.
It's the story. It's what everybody's talking about.
Yeah.
Is he the guy?
Yeah, Chris, I think he is. Listen,
Is it too?
Chris, no, okay. Is it too soon? Let me say it this way. Let me phrase it this way, then, Chris. Is he the guy? It appears to me. Who am I, right? It appears to me he has the intelligence, the skill set, and the respect of the huddle in the locker room to be that next guy, Chris. I think guys do gravitate to him. And I think, listen, you got to look at what he's got playing around him, Chris. He's not, I don't think he's to the point where Brady, when Brady was making guys better than they really were because Brady was that good. He's probably not that player. Will he ever be that player? I don't know. But
listen, I got some stats coming up that may disagree with
Chris,
that.
do I think he's the next guy? Yeah. I think you're going to have to give him some guys to play with him. But I think he absolutely can lead you where you need him to go. But I think it's going to have to be a team effort, like it always was, when we were rolling, right? But yeah, I think he is. I mean, I listened to all these idiots on the flagship bash him all week, but I don't think they know what the hell they're talking about.
What pisses me off about this conversation, is he the guy? Is the comparisons they're making? I don't understand this. The comparisons they're making are he to Allen. Herbert, Mahomes. Those guys are 3-4 years in.
Well, Hebert's 2 years in, but
years.
Allen, Chris, when Allen was a rookie, you and I were like,
this guy's trash.
Right?
Mark, this season, Murray and those clowns all season long. We're talking about. I don't buy into Allen. I'm not. They've admitted they're wrong. I don't buy into Allen. I don't think he's got what it takes. Allen will be Allen at some point. This guy's further in his career. Mark, let me
And he has a much better supporting cast, Chris, around
That's
him.
the other thing. Yeah. Burrow is another guy on that
Why,
list.
you think
He's 2
Allen
years.
you could put Allen on the Patriots, and what was he going to do? Anything different this year? No.
No, unless he gets out of the pocket and runs. Otherwise, nothing. Because Mark, if you think about it, Allen was their whole team anyway up there. So yeah, look, Mark, I have stats, of course.
Of course you do.
521 attempts. This is Mac Jones. 352 completions, 3,800 yards. He's got a 67.5 completion percentage as a rookie. Okay. Sacked 28 times, which is a lot. He's got 13 interceptions, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, passer rating of 92.5. Mark, okay, so what rookie can you think back to a rookie that had a better season?
No,
Dak?
I can't.
Dak Prescott, Russell
Probably
Wilson.
Dak.
Those are the only two guys I can think of that had a better season. So, does he make players better? Okay, so you were saying that does he make players better right now? I don't know, but he probably can. Well, my argument is he does make players better. Here's how I can tell you that. Okay, Jacoby Myers was had leading receptions. All right, he had last year, Mark, 2020. He had 59 receptions for 729 yards, no touchdowns. Okay, this year, 83 catches for 866 yards. He only had 2 touchdowns, but still 2 better than last year. So why? Why was he better this year?
Yeah.
Mac Jones.
I
mean, right? Okay.
And Kendrick Bourne for a year, right?
Kendrick Bourne. Now he had a little bit. Okay. Last year, San Fran, 49 catches, 660 yards, 13.5 per game. Okay. He had 2 touchdowns last season. All right. And that's what he had for San Fran. This year, he had 55 receptions, 800 yards, okay, and 5 touchdowns. That's better, isn't it? And by the way, those are 2 career years for those 2 guys. Myers, yeah. Hunter Henry. He was better, but he had a better, he had Herbert, 60 catches last year, 600 yards, 4 touchdowns. But this year, he had 10 less receptions. He had just about the same amount of yards, 600, and he had 9 touchdowns versus 4.
That's
better.
That's much better.
And this is the guy, Herbert, that everybody's saying we need to get him to, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So, I mean, there's some other guy, Aguilar, Aguilar was pretty much a stiff. He had a much better year last year. Jonas Smith, same thing. But, Mark, my point is that Mac Jones did make people better as a rookie.
All right. Yeah. Chris, listen. Yeah. So do you think he's the next guy?
Yes.
Okay.
I absolutely do. And I do because
Okay.
of his brain.
Okay.
Because of the study habit, the brain, the physicality. He'll get stronger.
Chris, listen, Whatchamacallit was on this week on Tom Curran's podcast, Tom House. And House, who worked with Brady, he's worked with a bunch of different quarterbacks.
Cam Newton, we talked about him.
House said he absolutely will get stronger. His arm he said, do not worry about his arm strength. He said he's fine. He said he'll be perfectly fine. There's things that you do for arm strength. He said Drew Brees, he worked with Drew Brees. Drew Brees, Chris, once the season ended, worked with a Pop Warner college football, never picked up an NFL weighted size football again until training camp because he wanted the arm strength and he wanted the quickness out of the hand. That's what he did the entire offseason. Mm-hmm. He said there were numerous examples of what guys can do to strengthen their arms. He said, so I'm not worried. He said, the people that are saying he doesn't have a strong enough arm, he said, they don't know what they're talking about.
I told you I'd rather have him.
I'd
rather have it be able to drop that teardrop into the basket right now, which he can do, and develop the arm strength. Listen, and Mark, there were a few balls he threw early in the season that was zipped right in there, center of the field. So I'm not worried about that. But should we be worried about him being at the same level? We're talking Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Herbert. Should we be nervous about? Should we be worried about that? Having Mac Jones, is he gonna catch them? Because I think some of those guys have weapons galore.
They do have weapons galore. So I think if you gave him more weapons, Chris, is he going to be better than those guys? Maybe not. Can he be on the same level or maybe just a tad below? Yeah, I think he can. And I think you can make up for maybe the fact that he may not be exactly there because you right now, anyways, you definitely have a hell of a lot better coaching than the rest of those idiots have, right? Those idiots that are coaching those guys,
We'll get to that
and
next.
we'll get into that in a minute. But you're right, Chris. These guys all have weapons. I want to see Burrow, Mahomes, and Allen with this Patriot team and the weapons they have. That's
Good point.
What would they do any differently? Maybe a little bit better because Mahomes can run out of the pocket and Allen can run. Okay, but Burrow is a pocket quarterback. Joe Burrow's not running anywhere. Joe Burrow would get killed. He would be the same thing as Joe.
Well, he is getting
without
killed.
the weapons. I mean, he's got all these weapons, and Hebert has weapons galore.
Yeah, listen, like I said, well, and by the way, Kansas City, they're proving to be beatable. And I understand people say, wait a minute, Mahomes only lost 13 games total in his career. Got it. But most of those games have been, the last 2 seasons, and you see it starting to happen.
Well,
Kelsey's
now they're
gonna go away
saying,
at
Chris,
some point.
he's
Hill's
only
gonna go away.
Now they're saying he's only lost 2 playoff games, and they're both to Brady. No one else has ever beaten him in the playoffs. That's what everyone's saying.
It'll
now.
probably be in the Super Bowl again this year, but they went to 4 straight AFC Championship games. I get it. He's real good, but those weapons are going to start to go away. Kelsey, Hill, some age is going to come on those guys. So to me, the guys to be worried about a Burrow, Allen. You're going to be worried about Allen in your own division. Seriously.
Yeah. What you call it, Chris? Chris Carter said, "Listen." He said, Mahomes is good, great. He said, listen, he said, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, he said, those guys took their teams on the road. They have this, but they took their teams on the road.
Yeah.
He said, Brady won a championship game in Pittsburgh. He won a championship game in Arrowhead. He took his team with no weapons, nothing.
He won games in Baltimore. Too.
He 06. He went into they were pumping in crowd noise in Indy, Chris.
Indianapolis, yeah.
Half the team was throwing up in the locker room
They
with
were
the
sick.
flu. He had no weapons on that 06 team at all, and they almost came out of there with a win. So Mahomes, let me see Mahomes take his team on the road in a playoff game in a hostile environment against a good team and come out with the win. Not an Arrowhead, because he's never had to go outside of Arrowhead and win a playoff game, Chris.
No, he hasn't. He's always home.
So let's
always
see
home.
it. Let's see it.
And so yeah, we'll see what happens. We're going to talk more MAC-MANIA throughout this whole year, this whole
Bottom
offseason.
line, Chris, though, bottom line is, before we move on, the both of us think he's the next guy.
I do.
Agreed?
Yeah,
I
I
do
do.
too. All
But
right.
what happens when Brady comes back? They hire him to retire here. What they
He's going to play 2 years for New England and say,
Yeah.
Mac, just sit down, relax. Let's go win one more, and then Brady retires again. He'll be like, So MAC-MANIA was presented by Jag Media Productions. Mark, we have to get to Coach's Corner. Have to, because it's too egregious not to, right?
Yeah,
Joe,
yeah.
are you prepared? Are you ready this time?
Hey, listen, I don't want to have to tell you guys again that Mercury's in retrograde. All right, here we go.
And the snowstorm.
And the
Yeah.
snowstorm.
There we go.
Coach's Corner.
Corso and Catone, no school. So, Mark, talking about some of his coaches and what you're hearing, we had somebody call in last week, Steve, I think his name was. Is the mystique gone? Is Belichick? We've been calling for him at various points of the season for his job. Now let's look around the rest of the league, Mark.
Okay.
What did you see in these? Just take last week's game.
Chris, I'm gonna just go to. I want 2 games.
Yeah, we only have time for 2.
2 games. 2
Unfortunately.
games. 2 games. Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Last series.
Mm-hmm.
What did they call Chris? How does Cooper Kupp, the best player, the best receiver in the league right now with his numbers, how did that happen? What did they call?
They blitzed. They brought pressure. They brought pressure against Tom Brady.
No,
I'm sorry. They brought pressure against LA.
Stafford.
They brought pressure against Stafford. Mark, I couldn't believe what I was seeing when I watched it live. I'm like, okay, they're not serious. They're going to drop out of this. They're not seriously bringing the heat here. They didn't even have a center fielder. I mean, it's one thing if you were going to bring pressure. They didn't even have it. There should have been a guy 20 yards back. They should have had a cover 4 with 4 defensive backs across the back, with the 2 corners maybe a little more shallow, playing on the sticks.
Because, Chris, the Rams
What
had no
the hell?
timeouts left. They had no
It's
timeouts.
it's atrocious. And that may have been the thing that just put Brady over the top to say, screw this. Belichick would have never done this, you know? So yeah, Mark, that was the most ridiculous play call on defense
And
I've
then
seen
he
in a
defended
long
it.
time.
Arians defended it.
Yeah, Arians doesn't even know his own name unless Brady gives it to him on a piece of paper for the press conference. So that was awful. What's the other one you had?
Well, Chris, for a couple of things in that Kansas City game, Kansas City Buffalo, we have to dissect the 13
Oh my
seconds, Chris.
God.
We have to dissect it. So, first of all, the kickoff, after you score, you have
Wow.
13 seconds left. How do you kick the ball out of the end zone and not squib it down the middle of the field to like the 20 and 3 or 4 seconds come off the clock? At least.
And I'm texting Mark going, did this guy seriously kick it through the end zone just now? Like, that ball should have been, and you can say all you want, well, we're worried about their return. They got a good return guy, blah,
Which
blah,
they
blah.
do.
Your kick coverage was good all day long. Okay, so what you do is you corner kick it. You kick it between the 10, you let it land between the 10 and the goal line, hash to the sideline. That's what you do. So that's the first problem. Because what, Mark? You know, 4 seconds at least 4 seconds would have gone off the
At
clock.
least.
Yeah. So now you're at 9 seconds. Okay. Now, here's the thing nobody's saying, but I'm saying it. If that were my defense, okay, what I would have had happening, I would have had nothing not much in the center of the field. What I would have had is, and I mean shallow center, I would have my linebackers and safeties, okay, head up on Kelsey and Hill. And what I would have told them to do is, under no circumstances do these 2 guys get off the line. I don't care if you got to yank them down. I don't care if you got to pull them down. I don't care what you need to do. Get these guys on the ground. That's it. Commit penalties. I don't care. Not downfield, because you don't want a PI call, but right up near the line of scrimmage. Yank them. Kelsey was running up the seam, Mark. Nobody touched him off the line of scrimmage. Nobody. I would have had them committing penalties, because that's going to take how much more time off the clock?
Yeah.
Another 4 seconds?
So, Chris, what they said was,
Now you're at 4
after
seconds.
you commit a penalty once like that in the final 2 minutes of the game,
on.
they said that they add on, like, they add the time back onto the clock, and it's a 15-yard penalty. So they would if they thought you were intentionally doing it, they would put the time back on the clock, move you up 15 more.
Yeah.
But Chris, you
know
could do
dramatic,
it in a way.
how dramatic it has to be for them to do that.
That's what I'm saying, Chris. You mean to tell me they couldn't have did something to Kelsey off the line?
Absolutely. They're professionals.
Come on.
They can hide that. You know, I don't buy any of that. Put the climb blind. And even if they, and even if it's, so you give them the 5 yard, even if they complete it, because even if they complete a pass to somebody else, they'll add it to the run. You're still left with 4 seconds left in the game, Mark. It's your last play. You got to go to the end zone. You can't kick a field goal at that point. So, Mark, those 2
horrible,
were awful.
Chris. Horrible
Awful.
coaching. Horrible.
And it is. It's terrible. And McVay completely wet himself in that game.
Oh,
completely.
Chris,
See his
remember
face?
the face? Oh my God. Chris is like, oh my God, Tampa's going to win this game. Did you see this guy? It was like, oh my God, he was scared. I don't want to say it.
Yeah.
Because he saw number 12 on the other side of the field.
Yep. So, again, coaching is really bad in the league. They can't manage the clock at the end of the game, right? They can't do it. That's what tells me that Belichick's still there. He's still valid. Because, Mark, we noticed this because that's how good New England is.
Yep.
Coaching historically. So, Coach's Corner was presented by Jag Media Productions. Hey, we're running short now, Mark. We got to get our picks in for the championship.
I'm going to
weekend.
go
Quick.
with the LA Rams. I think the LA Rams are going to win. They're going to win big. I think it's going to be like, I don't know, like 37-17. And then in the Kansas City game, Chris, I've gone back and forth. I'm going to go Kansas City 31-28, only because it's an Arrowhead. Only reason, but it wouldn't shock me if Burrow goes in there with ice in his veins and beats him.
I got Cincinnati 34-31.
Good. I hope you're right.
And at a last second deal. And I have the Rams winning, same thing, but a little closer of a score. I got 24. So I got somewhere in the 30s to 24. So We'll see what happens. Hopefully they're good games. Mark, some people to thank today. Want to thank the good people at Special Sauce Podcast. What's your special sauce? SpecialSaucePodcast.com. Jag Media Productions. People over at Studio 42 Designs, Studio42Designs.com. and CORSO Law Group, Arizona's leading criminal and traffic law firm, CORSOLawGroup.com. Hey, listen, join us every week, Corso and Catone, the real deal New England feel, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll always have Heated Hotline, Catone's comments. We're going to get back to B's and C's next week, Mark. Bruins and Celtics. Always our weekly rewind and anything else you want to talk about with the NFL playoffs and who's going to the Super Bowl. So, for Mark Catone, Joe Guarnieri, I'm Chris Corso. So long, everyone.